Hey everyone, it's Ken Okel. It was great to meet a lot of you at Philanthropy. For those who are in my session, I think you'll like this page because I highlight some of the main topics that I discussed during my talk. And I realize for some of you weren't able to come, no problem. You can kind of get started on everything. I tried to arrange everything in little modules so you can always come back. This page will be up in perpetuity. You can come visit, check it out. Just remember to use the password because it is password protected. Want to make sure your section is yours. One question that I got afterwards that I thought might be worth discussing was, what do you do if you're working in a situation where you're a type A person, you're really a go-getter, you're charging, you're trying to make all your deadlines, and you're working with people who maybe aren't? That can be tricky because it's difficult to motivate someone to change if they don't really feel like they need to. Years ago, I found myself in charge of a weekend TV newsroom. I was the anchor producer. Basically, I was the person in charge of the entire newsroom during those 2 weekend days. However, I didn't necessarily have a lot of power or authority over people, and the reporters and photographers who were working then probably would have preferred not to have been working an all-day shift on Saturday and Sunday. They probably would have liked to have worked Monday through Friday. So they weren't necessarily as enthusiastic about being there, plus they were some of the newer employees. So I looked at the situation and I said, ooh, this could get bad for me. Less experienced employees who potentially don't want to be there, they may not be giving me the best effort, which could reflect on me. So I had to really think about, what can I do? I don't have power over them. I can't discipline them. I don't want to yell at them or anything like that. Eventually, I realized, what did I have to offer them? In my case, it was experience. I had been around the block a few times more than they had. I had done lots of stories, had lots of information. So I talked to them and said, hey, tell you what, I can have a little session we can do after every newscast. We can get together, 15 minutes, a half hour in the conference room, and we'll go over the newscast. We'll talk about your stories. This was important because often in the news industry, people don't get much feedback. They're kind of just on their own, makes it harder to improve. And you got to remember, for a lot of us, we want to get to that next station, that next level, next paycheck too. So by giving people a certain incentive to bring their A games to their work, we were able to create a slightly separate culture from the rest of the newsroom, where people started to show more teamwork. Occasionally I'd, bring in some bagels for people, things like that. Food bribes are always good at trying to get people to help you. So if you're dealing with some coworkers who may not have that fire that you have, try to explain to them why you're so excited about doing what you're doing and how you need their help, how they're playing an important role. Like I said, you can try to bribe or encourage with food or some sort of other reward. You can even make fun of yourself, where I could be like, hey man, I know this is a Ken Okel type A person request, but could ya? I talk about this a little more in one of my other presentations, but I just want to give you a little hint of that. And sometimes we got to take the high view of the situation, from 3,000 feet. Sometimes you can't change your coworkers. They are who they are. You got to love them for who they are. And you may need to start thinking about what's your next move, your next career move. I've known some consultants who have gotten to a certain point where they didn't really like working with some clients. They were high maintenance. They didn't pay very much, just were a bit of a pain. You know what they did? They fired them. They said, hey, love working with you, but I'm going to be moving to some other people. It was tricky to let go, but for them, it was something that eventually made sense. A lot of different ideas I just gave you there. Go down throughout the page. You're going to see all sorts of little lessons and tips. Remember, I'm always generating new content, new article out weekly on the blog. Also have the podcast, the 2-minute takeaway, as well as a video productivity tip. So thank you all so much. You ever need a speaker? Let me know. I'm Ken Okel. Take care.